The cost is interesting, especially when you're talking prescription devices, because traditionally the cost of the device has bundled into it the professional service of the clinic where you go. And so oftentimes the cost isn't truly just the cost of the hearing aid. You're looking at the cost of the assessment, the cost of the selection, the cost of the fitting, the cost of follow-up care,
cost
the
of
cost
maintenance,
the cost of counseling, the cost of future follow-up visits.
And then do it all again when their prescription changes in a year and a half.
Yeah. So there's often that. Now some clinics you may find have unbundled their cost of care, which just means they might show you a price tag on the hearing aid that's quite a bit less than what you might have been quoted elsewhere. But then the important thing is to know, well, what's the cost of the service? Because if I'm paying for each individual visit, if I'm paying per service, you know, it's important to analyze and compare apples to apples.
Great way to break that down. If you're seeing a cost of a hearing treatment plan that seems way less than another one, it usually has more to do with not the device. It usually has more to do with the provider or the location you're going to and what they provide for service. So when you see something that's half the cost, it usually just means that service is not included, it's an unbundled approach, or the service that is being offered may not be worth a whole lot. It might be super, super limited, and so you're not really comparing apples to apples across all these places, all these locations and venues for purchasing a device. They may be very different in their methodology and their approach to just dispensing the device and how they service and how they help the patient.
Yeah, so for example, you mentioned eBay earlier.
Yeah.
Let's say I have a patient, they come in, we talk about hearing aids, we kind of select and settle on a set of hearing aids, and for example, let's say it comes out to $3,800. That's not crazy, that happens regularly. $3,800 is kind of the cost of this set. And they say, well, let me just go do some homework, let me go think about it. They go home, they Google this hearing aid, they have the name of it, and up pops an eBay quote for $2,200. And they say, hang on here, my doctor said 38, I'm finding it on eBay for $22.
$1,600 difference here.
And it might even say something like brand new, never used, seldom used, you know. First of all, you're probably looking at something that is used. If it's being sold on eBay, it's probably something that someone previously owned. So you probably are now not looking at a brand new product, you're looking at a used one. But then the big thing is it also doesn't come with service. Over the years, I've had patients show up with a hearing aid like this. They say, I bought this on eBay for $2,200.
Great.
Service the device.
Yeah.
And then they're surprised when there's prices associated with the fitting and with the follow-up care. Because now we're dealing with this unbundled approach. You bought the hearing aid separately, and now what you're paying for is service. By the time you add it all together, suddenly you realize you didn't save as much money as you thought. You
know,
did.
With our calculations, individuals, and we love all different types of patients. If they come with their own devices or if they buy them through our clinic, in our situation, we have our service package unbundled. So it's actually, we can separate it. So it's very easy to do. But a lot of clinics like ours will have a package that you can purchase, kind of an annual pass, where you can come and have your devices serviced. You can have your all the counseling visits, all the professional help, the wax cleaning, everything done under an umbrella, and it's a flat cost. You know, like with our clinic, it's $530 per year, and it lasts, you know, all year long. You can come as much as you want, just as if you had purchased the device through our clinic. But some people say, can you just do this, this, and this? And so we have those itemized things unbundled. And what we find with individuals who just come in once in a while for unbundled care and they never buy a service plan, or they don't really have a really good service plan associated with their purchase, they end up spending usually 30 to 50% more, so almost double what a normal patient would pay for service, just because they're trying to buy the device super inexpensively, but then they only go and seek out help when they think they need it. So every time they come in, it's this dramatic thing, and it requires multiple types of services, multiple counseling. You need to be with the doctor for multiple visits. It ends up being kind of a larger ordeal versus that person who just comes in frequently, comes in about every 3 to 6 months and has their device maintained and serviced, and they're getting the right counsel, they're getting the right education, so they truly understand how they work with their device, and they feel empowered, and they feel very comfortable with their relationship with the device and what it can do, what it shouldn't do, and all of those type of things. So the bottom line for us, in our situation is service is usually way less when you have purchased a device through a clinic. But if you do purchase a device from, say, a warehouse or an eBay, or maybe you go through a third party like your health insurance, a Aetna or United Healthcare or a Select Health, or any of these that have a third party kind of governing and managing the way you buy a hearing device. If you've gone through those avenues, it's okay. You can still come to clinics like ours, and we still service you. And usually I would say the annual service plans typically are going to be quite a bit less when it comes to the less in money, but also way more in value. You'll find that it's way more valuable. So
let me say, I totally agree that the best way to succeed with your hearing aid is get on a regular pattern of seeing your professional. Mm-hmm. And we find that that's easiest if you have a service plan where you can just go in and get the care. If you're paying per visit, I see the same thing. People don't want to come in. So they wait and wait and wait and wait and wait until the problem's really big, and then all of a sudden the cost of repair is really high.
Okay, everybody, we so appreciate you watching the video today. If you've liked what you've seen, please like it, subscribe to our channel. It means the world to us, but it also means the world to other people who are trying to figure out what's going on with their hearing health. So thank you for watching.